Okay, we're back to work on this 98 Jeep Cherokee again. That blame thing, fella told me the other day what Jeep stood for. Said it's just empty every pocket. But anyhow, this seat right here is part of the steering knuckle, and that's where the brake pads sit. And I've been having a little notch in this right down here, but I've been trying to work around it. See, it's got a pretty good little notch in it now. And then to top everything else off, it created a notch up here in the top part. So what I'm going to have to do is replace this steering knuckle. And that's going to involve taking the ball joints loose, taking the tie rod loose, taking the axle loose, and pulling it out and putting a new one in. This thing the other day, the brakes went away, and this is the inside brake pad off of the thing. I've already took the caliper off because I had to take it and trade it in for another one. But this pad got all cattywampus down in here, and I couldn't even see it when I first pulled the wheel off. But it's wore out the back side of the rotor, and I got to put a new rotor on it too. So I'm going to get started on it, start taking stuff loose. I'll be back with you shortly. I'll try to show it in steps as I get to it. So we'll see you shortly. Got this on a old style bumper jack, and I always push against something once I jack it up, see if it's going to fall before I take the wheels off or anything, so it won't fall too far. The felt of it is a little shaky, and all of my jack stands are tied up under other vehicles. So what I did, I went in here and blocked it up with wood under the pumpkin, so that if it falls, the wood will help catch it and let some of the weight down on it. And as I shake it, it's rocking on the rear springs, and so we'll be alright, because there's going to be some heavy duty pulling involved in this. Be back with you shortly. Okay, I got the rotor off, and that rotor's pretty well wore out. Right there is the fins that are in between the two sides. This is the side view of the rotor. So had to take a hammer and beat it off because of the rust that was on it. So we'll be back with you shortly. Okay, we're running into a heck of a problem. So far I ain't been able to get this spindle nut off because I don't have a socket that really fits it. I have worked on it and broke out the inch drive impact. I had a socket. It's an inch and 7/16, but it's old cheap Taiwan socket, and it's stripped out. So I'm sending to town to get a 36mm socket. That's what that nut measures. And I went ahead and took the bolts out to hold the bearing in. So let me see here if I can get this camera situated. Been beating and banging on it a little bit and got it knocked loose finally. So I'm bringing out the axle with the bearing. What I'm going to have to do, I got to put a U-joint in it too, because this will, U-joints wore out. So I can do that without having to take the thing apart if I have to. But we'll see how things go on that. Get the airplane out the way. And now I'm ready to see if I can knock these ball joints loose. Gotta get me a wrench to fit them, or a socket or something or other. So these 3 bolts here is 13mm spline head bolts, and did that trying to get them broke loose. Finally used a 1/2 inch and drove it on them, used the impact and got them out of there. Alright, we'll be back with you in a little bit. Okay, got that thing knocked loose finally. Left one nut on to catch it so that it wouldn't fall off and hit me. But, alright, here's a little closer view of it. Right there is the original notch I was having to carry on, and the brakes on this side really been giving this thing a fit. To get it off, what I did was beat on it right there to knock the press fit loose on both the top and the bottom. Beat on that for a little bit, and beat on that for a little bit, and she finally broke loose. And we'll lay it down. And this is the hammer I used. Used this end of it. Well, that helped spread that metal a little bit more. It didn't much matter on that because we are not using it again. So I'll go to the house and get the new one. I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, got the new knuckle back on, good and tight. Get the tie rod in, hooked back up. Maybe. And of course I had knocked the car key off on the ground. So, get this tightened up. I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, get the right size socket. That does the job on taking the hub off. Now, put a new U-joint in this axle. So now we'll see if we can get him back in there. I reckon the thing goes about like that. Ain't no whole lot of it left. Now we'll see if we can get this bearing here back on there. Okay, get these bolts tightened up and I'll be back with you. Okay, I got them bolts run up snug, and the book says to offer them 75 foot-pounds. That might be a trick under that fender too. Can't even get on that one. Okay. All right. Next thing, I gotta go find a new caliper. Put the new rotor on. I've already set the shims on the brake shoes, or the brake pads. And I shoot a little grease in it. That top ball joint and that there tie rod in. So we'll be back with you shortly. I reckon the book also says 175 foot-pounds on that there axle nut. So we'll give it a run up here. Once I get it on the ground, I'll take a torque wrench, set it on 150 and tighten it up, and then give it a little more. So that ought to be tight enough. We'll be back with you shortly. Okay, I've stuck the rotor on here backwards. Give it a little spray down with some brake parts cleaner. Make sure we got all the cosmoline or whatever was on it off. Now, what we'll do is turn it around. Put it on the right way. Get this thing bent back out the way. There we go. something on it. Just so we'll give it a little wipe down. The caliper that was on it had what they call a phenolic piston in it, and I just don't like them at all. So when I replace the calipers, I like to replace them with metal piston. That plug out of that hole there. Okay, got to put the internal pad on first. Get this shoe in there. Okay. Spray it down. Okay. Ah, you son of a gun. Give these places where the pads slide a little dose of anti-seize. Okay, now what we got to do is hook these pads over that bottom. Get them both in there. Okay, it's got the bolt started. Don't feel like those threads are real good in that thing. myself up from here. Ah, shoot. Well, we'll get back on that directly. Alrighty. What I do now is well, I'm doing real good. I'm losing my tools left and right. Okay, that's got them started. Okay. We'll be back with you shortly.